If you think houses are too expensive, why don't you go and pay 30 grand to live in a bus? Just like these people did. They bought this old bus. They actually paid $6,000. They then fitted that bus out. They put it onto some property. They built a deck around it, and they then sold that bus for 30 grand. And it's essentially a tiny house, which is obviously becoming a big thing in Australia, where people go and put these removable houses or tiny homes on blocks of land. They might spend between 30 and 100,000 to build them, and they rent them out for $400, $500, $600 a night. They obviously make a very strong return on that. And that got me thinking, and it's a strategy that I'm now implementing because I've since bought a large property of 1,500 acres, of which is going to be turned into a wedding and events venue, which we need accommodation on. I also run a building company, of which we knock a lot of old houses down, and it costs about 30 grand to knock houses down. I saw somewhere about these people relocating houses. So houses that you're going to knock over that are on bearers and joists, so the piers and on timber, you can relocate houses. So it got me thinking. I started exploring what I'm starting to do. We've got 2 houses that are getting moved over the next month up to this property. Instead of paying $30,000 to a demo crew to knock these houses over, send all the rubbish away, start developing, I'm actually going to get these houses moved. So they're 3-bedroom, perfectly fine weatherboard houses. People were living them until we bought these properties. And instead of knocking them down, we're then going to relocate them to the property, set them back up as a house. We're looking at about $50,000 per dwelling to pick it up and relocate the house up to the new property. Probably then another 20 to 30,000 to get it back set up again, water, sewer, get it tidied up. We're going to be all in for about $80,000, of which we're going to pay 30 to knock over. So it's really only costing us an extra $50,000. This house all of a sudden can start generating an income again because it's now accommodation for the wedding guests, which will be somewhere between $400 and $1,000 a night, depending on how many guests. For a $80,000 investment, of which is really only a $50,000 investment because I was going to pay 30 to knock it over, I'm now moving it up to a property, then generate income, and it's essentially going to be an unlimited return because that property will stay there for another 30, 40, 50 years and generate income as opposed to it being knocked over. Just like these people thought with the bus, being creative around buying a bus, renovating it, and then turning it into a tiny home and selling it for 30 grand, I've now been creative to go, well, how can we repurpose these dwellings, give people accommodation when they need it, and generate an income from it? And that's what I'm doing.